Another than your host today from Author Brand. And we're going to be discussing some very powerful things here that everybody needs to understand. And that would be the infamous writer's block. That's right. We all have writer's block. And so the topic today is a 20-minute training. It's going to go real fast, no fluff. If you want to know more about me, just go and click on my bio. Right now, we're talking about this thing, how to eliminate writer's block. No matter what you're doing, whether you're, you know, uh, a writer, whether you're an author, an entrepreneur, business person, even an employee, there's always a high level of skill and, quite frankly, respect when you are a well-crafted writer, when you can create things people can read and keeps them engaged. Which, when you're writing a book, oh my gosh, it's quite the task, isn't it? So let's go through this on this program today, and we'll cover it piece by piece. Number one, this 20-minute training, we're going to cover your idea machine, how to get endless content for yourself, no matter what your topic, what your background is. I'm going to show you how to create endless content. You'll never run out of something to say or write about. The second thing, I'm going to unpack 3 very easy strategies to write effortlessly, so you don't have that staring at a screen thing for hours, not knowing what to say or write. Third thing we're going to talk about is reveal a system that's helpful for consistency and quality. It's one thing to get through writer's block. It's a whole nother thing to make sure your writing is consistent, which is very important, and it has a good quality. People actually want to read it and click on stuff and hire you. So let's start on that. First of all, get outside. And I have the the little ellipsis there of yourself, and it's a double entendre. I'll tell you why. You need to actually go outside, like into the outdoors, and move. I can't tell you how many hours I spend here in front of the computer. If I don't get up every couple hours and move, not only does my butt hurt, but my brain hurts. So if you're a writer and whether it's a blog post or a book, doesn't matter, get up and move around. There is a lot of physiology at stake here in terms of moving, getting your blood flow circulating, but most importantly, removing the distractions of your environment and getting outside, right? So you all have good ideas when it comes, like in the shower, we have great ideas. We're thinking because there's no distractions. Our mind is empty and all the good stuff flows in. So taking a shower, record some notes, get a waterproof recorder. Go for a walk, take some notes. Meditate after you're done or through it, take some notes. So your environment, getting outside, is critical to getting the flow going, getting ideas going. So you can, I skipped right number 2 here. Let's get number 1. Getting outside of yourself is equally important. So often we have a lot of life experience and we say, I'm going to write about this. This is important to me. It's something I care about. Well, that's great, but what if nobody else does? Or what if it's like, not that interesting? I highly encourage you to do what the Fortune 100 do every single time they roll out a new product. That is focus groups, asking, getting feedback, mentorship, questions. Talk to your audience. Ask them what they want to know about. Ask them what's their biggest stumbling block. Ask. There's an entire industry around surveys and ask and customer satisfaction. Get into that world. You don't have to go full blown and spend 5 figures on a focus group. You can go online to things like Quora, Reddit, Google, YouTube, forums, communities, and find out what the buzz is. What is going on in your industry that people are talking about or concerned about. Go in there and ask, or float some topics. Go in there yourself, register and say, is this important to anybody? If so, why? And get some dialogues going. All right. I did this once for a book years ago where I got over 900 conversations on a book we were doing on international dating. And so it was very valuable data. It was actually irrefutable. With 900 people telling me what they wanted to read about in a book, it was pre-sold before it was actually published. So make sure you get outside of yourself, talk to other people about your ideas, and actually get outside. The other thing to get outside of is your industry, right? You get outside yourself physically, mentally, in terms of your body, your mind, also your environment, but your industry. I can't tell you how many times people talk about their industry and they read their industry journals, go to their industry conferences, and talk to people in their industry. That's great. Don't stop that. But imagine the power if you actually broaden your horizons and studied and spoke with people who have nothing to do with your industry. There's a lot of things that happen in the world that don't impact you, but you can listen to and talk to people about. And there's no downside to doing this. not only to become a little more well-rounded, but you'll pick up some very creative ideas that nobody in your industry is thinking about because they're all focused in themselves and their demographic, right? Get outside of that. Go to other trade shows. Talk to people who you have nothing in common with, just to learn what they're doing. And maybe you'll get some ideas that will relate to your topic. Okay, the story won't write itself. How do you actually get through this writer's block? First of all, we talked a minute ago about getting ideas for yourself. That's great. Get outside, people, other industries. Great. Once those ideas start popping into your head, what do you do? Well, a lot of people sit and think about it, and then life gets in the way, and they go back to what they're doing. That's not really going to work. You actually have to document things as they hit your brain. Don't wait. I highly encourage you to take your smartphone out and record your thought. Start a journal there. Any ideas that pop up into your head. You know, I have these on all the time, and my wife encourages me, hey, record that. That could be a blog post, that could be an article, that could be a book, because we have conversations about things. And as we're doing them, people go, that's interesting. And the more you hear that, the more you realize, well, maybe I should write about that. So how do you get through the wall, right? Number one, record things, right? Record it. It's simple. You can get that stuff transcribed for almost next to nothing nowadays. There's automation on Google. There are services like rev.com and other ones you can do to download and transcribe everything you've said and spoken, right? And then once you do that, put it in a folder and start those folders of ideas. The second thing is going to help you get going is to do some physical exercise. Again, I'm back to that again. Make sure you actually do a high intensity workout before or even during you're recording these ideas. The more blood flow you have pumping through your body, the more your synaptic nerves are firing, you're thinking and things are going. Do that, and then you can sit down and start writing your ideas out or listening to your ideas, expanding on them to start writing. The third thing about writing, what really helps, if you do get a block as you're writing, I'm talking about a certain topic, blah, blah, blah. Now what? Ask yourself a weird question. I remember talking to a guy once about getting people to brainstorm on ideas. And he said, I want you to come up with an idea. There's like 30 people in the room. Everyone has to come up with their own idea about how to end prisons, how to eliminate all prisons, right? And no idea was wacky. There were some crazy ones. There were some simple ones. There were some dumb ones, but there were some creative ones. So when you ask a weird question, something is impossible, your brain has to try to figure it out. It might not figure it out, but it's going to try. So ask weird questions about your topic. Like, what if nobody cares about this would be a good one. And what do they care about? But challenging your own beliefs is a strong thing to do. It broadens your perspective. It makes you more interesting to others, and you'll learn more about yourself and the world and your topic by doing so. So record things, do some workout, get your blood pumping, and ask weird questions. You'll get a lot more done, and you'll actually have some pretty cool ideas as you go through this. The last thing about this is make sure that you're doing this consistently. If you don't write consistently, you don't have the habit, and it's not going to work as well as if you do. Which brings me to the most important part about writing, which is to never, ever, ever edit as you write. Excuse me. Zero base editing. You are not an editor. Don't fix a typo on your first sentence as you're writing. It slows you down. You need to unblock everything you've thought about before. If you're a fastidious writer and you're particular, you're going to have to switch that part off as best as you can and just flow. Just write or record. Get it all out. You can always fix it later. As these ideas come and flowing, sometimes they're random. It's this topic. It's this book. Oh, this book. I got 5 ideas. Don't shut them off. I learned this by listening to Mark Victor Hansen talk about he has multiple file folders on his computer. Every time he has an idea about this topic, he'll write it, record it, clip it, and put it in that folder. So over time, you should have no less than 5 folders on your computer where you can catalog your ideas, your writings, and even other articles. So make sure you create those multiple folders and never ever edit as you write. And then as you're doing things and you start to structure them, you might get overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much here. I got a whole 40, 50,000 word book. How am I going to structure that? Well, it's the old eat an elephant thing. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So when it comes to your book, as you're getting the random thoughts out there, eventually your left brain is going to kick in and go, how can I structure this? Is it going to be story-based book? Is it going to be a story-based blog? Is it going to be a how-to or a checklist? Once you start thinking about the structure, start in the document and write down an outline, a table of contents, a 7-step system, whatever it is for you. But uncrunching all your thoughts comes from random ideas and thoughts and documenting it. And then at the same time or a little later, create your linear structure, your framework for what you're trying to achieve here. And the last thing about editing is to don't try to wear all the hats. You're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're an executive. You might be a writer, you might be an editor, you might be a graphic designer, you might be a marketer, but it's very rare that you're at the top of your game in all these skill sets, right? So if you love writing, don't stop writing. Go ahead and write, but be sure to hire a good editor, one who knows how to weave stories and make it really compelling. If you love doing graphics, it's most likely you're not going to have time to design graphics and book covers and all your social stuff and write. So wherever your strength is, writing, editing, marketing, production, whatever it is, please go ahead and push that and focus on that. Okay. That's what's more important, and not this silly chat here about free girls. We don't need that. Very funny. All right. So reskill yourself by going and taking other courses, mentor, checking in with other editors to help you with your content. All right. Next, a commitment. Okay. What's your definition of commitment? When it comes to writing, I mentioned before about consistency. Whenever you're inconsistent with something, by its very nature, your quality is going to be lacking. It's not going to go as well as if you had some effort. Same is true for athletics, for studying, and for writing. So you have to understand what your definition is. You might say, hey, I want to write every day 1 page, or I'm going to write 1,000 words a day. Whatever it is, stick to that schedule and keep it. There's a lot to be said for starting with the habit, not the volume. Let me give you an example. If you know in your heart that you should be writing 5 days a week or even 7 days a week, and you know you've got to get a 35, 40,000 word book out, 1,000 words a day, that's going to be done in a month and a half. Yeah, maybe. But the minute you skip a day and you go 1,000 to 0, you tend to be a little frustrated with yourself. Now your deadline gets extended and extended and extended. So my suggestion is to start with the easiest thing in the world. Write something every day. It could be a paragraph. It could be a page. It could be 1,000 words. But don't focus on the volume initially. Focus on the habit first. Because once you develop the habit, you could always increase that and be happy with that. A friend of mine was talking about his going from his sedentary lifestyle to going into the gym every day. And it was very difficult for him because he had spent 30 years of his life not going to the gym. And we all know what it's like when you first go after that and you're sore beyond measure for days. And he decided to not stress on the workout, but focus on the habit. So this first few times, he'd go there for 5 minutes, good enough, out he went. Next day, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, back to 5, whatever it was. But he focused on the habit and not the volume. And guess what? Within a week, week and a half, he looked forward to going. And he naturally extended his volume, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. So commitment is a very important part of this. That's why it gets this whole slide all to itself. So make a commitment to yourself, whatever it is, to create the habit. Volume will follow. Action steps. I've got a checklist for you here. And all you got to do is email me at doug@dougcrow.com, and I will drop that to you. If there's some way to put it in the chat here, I would. I'm not sure by that. But I'll put it in the link below on the channels that you're seeing this on. So the action step, of course, is first of all, download this worksheet. It's going to be very, very helpful in all the things I covered today. Second thing is commit. Commit to what you're going to do on a daily or even weekly basis. And then always be thinking what you want to write about and what people want to read about and what's solving for them. And by doing that, by going to something very, very important, which is to put yourself on the and just go ahead and ask. Ask for advice, ask for input, ask for feedback. The more you do that, it's not just an exercise of humility, it's an exercise in wisdom, because nobody likes to know it all, right? So don't think, I ask people all the time about certain topics and what I'm writing about, or what I'm working on, or my business model. Asking questions does not make you weak. It makes you wiser. So go ahead and ask, and don't just ask for the right answer, for the comfort zone, the yes men. Go outside your industry. Go to somebody you know is going to challenge you and ask them. But most importantly, ask a lot of people about your topic and your ideas and get their feedback. And when you do that, if possible, use their exact words, right? If someone's saying, well, in my industry, we have X, Y, and Z happening. If you hear that more than once, it might be an industry term or industry pain point. So when you use their words in your copy, book, blog, ad, whatever it is, when they read that, they're going to be like, oh, this person knows who I am. They understand my pain. I'm going to hire them. So when you ask, it's a lot of benefit. Your wisdom, their words, their pain, your solution. Keep that in mind. And the last thing, of course, is create. You know what to do. This is not rocket science. You just have to roll up your, hit that keyboard and start typing. And do not edit as you type. Record stuff on audio first, then just get some transcripts, put it in that folder, and start compiling. And then every week or two, look at your notes, read through it. From those things, wow, I can't believe I said that. It's pretty interesting. You'll start thinking about a framework for your outline, no matter how long your outline is. It could be 300-word blog post, 50,000-word book. There's going to have to be some structure to that. It doesn't have to be linear, mind you. You don't have to have a story that goes from point A to B. People love when they have to think a little bit. So if you want to start with a flashback and go forward in your storyline, that's fine. And the last point on that is, when you do story-based copy, whether it's book, blog, ad, make sure you tell a story with some framework to it, like hook, challenge, resolution, hero's journey, whatever it is. Make sure you have some structure to that so it flows, so it pulls people from one sentence to the next. There's a whole process for creating open loops, story hooks, story arcs, a lot of things. You can read about it. You can contact us. Happy to help you with that stuff. So make sure you start creating and start writing on a consistent basis. As soon as you start doing that, the floodgates of creativity will open up, and the production and the value of what you're going to be creating can be used for years to come. So don't hesitate. Don't pause. Just get out there and write. So if there's any questions on this stream, you go ahead and fire away. I can answer them. And if not, we'll just end it right here at 18 minutes. I'm hit my goal of under 20 minutes. These are rapid trainings. We have them just about every month. So make sure you subscribe to authorbrand.com, and you'll get notified on these on a consistent basis. So this is your host, Doug Crow. I thank you so much for joining us today. And be sure to go ahead and register, subscribe to all the things here with YouTube or Facebook, whatever it is. And I look forward to hearing your story in the future. Bye-bye.